Hey guys, Mikey here. I've seen Avengers Endgame and I kind of wanted to go over some thoughts in what we would call a safe space, where, full disclosure, there are 100% spoilers for this. Do not listen to this if you are sensitive to spoilers or haven't seen the movie and plan to see it and want to go in fresh. Um, because this is an extremely easy movie to spoil, and to be quite frank, no one wants to be that asshole on the internet ruining this for other people, because this is an event. Um, More than any other Marvel movie, this is an event. To the point of almost being an event book. But I want to talk about it and I want to get some thoughts out. Um, but obviously, I didn't want to use up a Patreon slot, and I don't want this really behind a wall. So this is going up on my YouTube page. It's being linked on the Twitter. Share it around if you want. Don't, whatever. Like, let me know what you think. Excuse the burping. I am having sparkling water while I'm doing this. Tasty. So, I'm also not going to go like, and here's this point of the film, and this point of the film, and here's the breakdown of the movie. This is just sort of thoughts of the wall on the film. Overall, I think it is a good movie. I think it's one of the stronger ones of sort of these phase 2, phase 3 ones, to be honest. But I'm saying that as someone who has been quite critical of the Marvel movies in recent years. Still haven't seen Captain Marvel. There is a cinema still airing it at the moment here, so I will probably go see it this weekend just to sort of even out. But I have been critical of the Marvel movies, and some of those criticisms remain in this film. However, I think Endgame, because of its nature as an event, it's a comic book event story, you know? A lot of those criticisms do fall away in some ways, and in some ways are unfortunately amplified. So the main crux of the film, this time travel plot, where they're going back in time and getting the Infinity Stones, I'm 50-50 on it, if I'm completely honest. On the one hand, it exists purely for nostalgia. That's the only reason this exists. There were thousands of ways to do the story without involving time travel, but this way they get to revisit some of their most popular movies and go, here's this reference, here's this reference, here's this reference, here's an extended scene, here's something you didn't see going on in the background, blah, 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 blah. Which is fine, which is good, it works. Like, they revisit Avengers, they revisit Infinity War, they revisit Guardians, they revisit the Peggy Carter show. I think, was it just called Carter, Agent Carter? And that's good. I think that's fine from nostalgia. As a plot purpose, I am not miffed, but iffy on it. Because I feel that's a lot of time given to fan service, and I was I came out of Infinity War pretty positive. I think it's an 8 or a 9 as a film, certainly as a superhero film. Probably closer to an 8, if I'm honest. And I would say it having watched it recently again, it's kind of not aged as well as you'd hope. Like, it's still standing up. Like, all the good bits are still good, but it's starting to show a bit of age. Like, not as much as some Marvel movies do. I think Guardians 2 has aged real bad. And I think Thor Ragnarok aged terribly, and certainly will age terribly as we go forward, but I have a thing about Thor Ragnarok I'll get into later. But I wanted to see a progression of that plot. Now, we do get that. There's a 5-year time jump. None of that's reset, which I think is really good, because they take the Dragon Ball approach to time travel, which by traveling back in time, you're traveling to fundamentally a different timeline. Or rather, you'll cause a splinter effect, so time will shatter and things will... Basically, you can't... Because when you travel into the past, your current future becomes your past, and that can't be changed by the past. Basically, you can't undo the present. You probably could with the Infinity Stones, but you have the present is not going away. So little baby Morgan, Banner Hulk, Professor Hulk rather, everything else, that is all staying, and I think that's good. Having a full reset button, like, I would love if a future Marvel movie was kind of more low-key and dealt with, like, and this is the psychology of people in this world. I'm still disappointed we don't have a proper Marvel movie or two set in the post-Thanos world and what effect it is. Like, I think there should be a Ronin movie, and how Hawkeye went from in that field to murdering criminals because he feels they got away when good people died. I think that's something I would like to see. But on the other hand, the time travel stuff is handled pretty well here, I think. It's used effectively. There's one plot point involving Nebula, which I think is, like, one of the problems this film has is that it has moments that the second you stop to examine it, it seems very flawed. Nebula's thing, like, she gets captured, the past Nebula is sent into the future, blah, blah, blah. Which only happened because Nebula didn't immediately use her time machine to go back in time after she woke up and realized Thanos knew where she was. Because Thanos didn't then suddenly rush off to find the Soul Stone. So it wasn't like it would have interfered with anything. Basically, the entire last act of the movie only happens because Nebula doesn't think. And I think that's unfair to the character because I really liked Nebula in this. I think she has grown in leaps and bounds. I would love her to stick around for long term. I'm more interested in seeing her in Guardians 3 than I am in seeing Thor in Guardians 3. But again, we'll get to Thor. So yeah, that plot point didn't work. Some of the time travel stuff doesn't work. There's just plot conveniences over and over again. And that's fine. Again, it's an event book. It's an event movie. It's a unique film because this is not the first cinematic universe, but it's the first one with 22 movies under its belt now, 22, 23. And this movie does not exist in isolation. I cannot imagine seeing this film without having seen a Marvel movie before because I suspect it would make not a lot of sense, and at best it would be like a big splody action film. Yeah. But yeah, the crux of the plot, the time travel thing, it's nostalgia, it's baseline nostalgia, and that works. It does work. But I maybe would have rathered something else. Something else I'm a little disappointed by, although I think it's not bad because when he has moments, they are still very, very solid moments, is the very reduced role of Thanos in this. Infinity War was his movie. It was the first movie we really got to see what his character was like, his proper, not the perception of him as the tyrant or the bad father or whatever, but Thanos the person. And I thought it was excellent. I think he is by far the best Marvel villain. Him and Loki, really, and then there's a huge, huge jump down to the rest of the Marvel villains, who largely stink. I'm just going to say it. Most of the Marvel villains are kind of bad. So Thanos has a reduced role in this. I mean, it's very surprising to see him being beheaded at the front, but at the front of the film. And I think it was not actually the worst idea to do it that way if you're doing this time travel plot. Because having him hanging around and they're like 5 years, why didn't you ever try doing anything about him? And like you don't get to see him in a big fight then because he's been crippled by the feedback from the Infinity Stones. Or the feedback from destroying the Infinity Stones, rather. But he's very good when he is in it. Like, I love his new plan. I think that is a very logical, twisted progression of, I'm trying to save the world. No one will let me save them. I need to make it so they never think they have to be saved. You know? I think that's very good. And he's like, the universe will... They will look at me as a savior. In fact, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't remember who I am. The work will be done. I am inevitable. And no one will miss what they never had. Yeah. So I think that's a very good moment. I also think it's only, like, it's really cool to the idea that the Infinity Gauntlet can do that. Although the fact that you have to snap your fingers now, like, the snap I always sort of took as a symbolic, not that you literally have to snap your fingers to make it work, because presumably the Infinity Stones don't need a gauntlet to work necessarily, but I just wish he was in the movie more, because he's in a very short bit at the front, he's in a small bit in the middle, and he's in the last fight scene, the big 40-minute fight scene, whatever it was. So I don't know. Josh Brolin does a brilliant job as him. Really does. Like, really highlights how much we've come where a CGI character can be that real. Like, he is more real and more a character than some of the humans in this. Some of the human actors. Certainly some of the human actors in Marvel over the years. But yeah. Ant-Man as well. I thought Ant-Man was remarkable in how he started off as very at the forefront of the story and then increasingly became less important. Yeah, he's there. Ant-Man is as significant as he is in this because of the time travel stuff. Once that's all sorted, he's just kind of another one of the background Avengers, which is up and down. Uh, Tony and Captain America got very much the best of this. Steven Stark, they do very well from this character wise. I think the logical progression of giving Tony feels guilty about the way it ended, but Tony also has something in this new world that he could lose, so he is reticent. And I thought they did a very good job of bringing him back, and he's this worn out shell of a man. He's barely really there, and he's just thinking, Cap, you left me, why did you leave me? You weren't there when I needed you. Like having Captain America there, because he has so much faith in him, would have made that much of a difference. Maybe it would, the idea of the united original Avengers, they could do anything, except in this situation they couldn't. That was an interesting idea. And then Tony being the sort of driving force behind a lot of this, I thought was very good. I also think it's really good they killed him. I think it was a great moment, that moment where he goes, I am, and then he pauses because presumably his arm is like melting, because if that's what it did to the Hulk, I don't want to imagine what it's doing to him. And he's just about to snap his fingers, and he's just like, I'm Iron Man. I am Iron Man. That was his last line in the first Marvel movie, and one of the best movies to stand up. And it's his last line in the end of his era. And I think going forward, Robert Downey Jr. occasionally has had more screen time than he needed. So I think taking him out of the equation is a good thing. I think he's been a very positive element to the MCU, and he's the guy whose humor always works for me, because it's coming straight from his character. Because that's who he is, and that's who he's always been, and I think it's very natural. Like when I've talked in other shows about the bathos effect, it's when they undermine the sincerity. Something this movie ends up being in the end is very sincere. It has a problem in the first half at times. Like it's fleeting, and it's handled way better than it is in most Marvel movies. I must say, everything sort of post Black Panther has kind of gotten the balance a lot better. I'm including Black Panther in that. I think that's a really good movie. But having him step back is a good thing. Like with all the introducing the idea of alternate timelines, yeah, they could bring him back if they wanted to, but let's just be happy that there's some universe out there where Tony's living his life as Iron Man with no Thanos, no nothing to worry about. At least one, Captain America was also very good in this. I really like Chris Evans' performance. He really is. Like, considering when I first saw him in Fantastic Four, I thought he was terrible. I think for him to grow into this wholesome role, very good. Having him, the guy who's gotten that sort of like recover in a world that's not your own, leading these self-help groups, I think was a very good idea. I think his interactions with Black Widow were very good. Just in general, he is very much in a support role next to Tony, but it works, and he's at the forefront of your mind a lot of the time. And I laughed at the American ass line, because that's funny. That's what, like, he's looking at his own backside and he's going, that is America's ass. And he walks out and just like, yeah, you know what? That's good. That's good humor. I like that. And the way they played into his movies where Bucky's alive, Hail Hydra, that worked. That was the fan service that worked for me. I wouldn't say the fan service didn't work, to be honest. It worked fine. And yeah, but I thought it was a good ending for him as well. He gets to go back and live the life he missed. He's lived 2 lives now. Like, he's been able to see the world for what it is and what it could be and everything else. And now he's gone back to live the life he always meant to have, the one he was looking for. Getting that first date. Which must have been a very odd conversation if he just pops back into reality. Like, by the way, I'm in ice somewhere around here. Don't dig me up. I suppose he could have pretended he was like, oh no, I was pre-POW, no. And I liked the passing the torch. I also liked it didn't go to Bucky, because I've never liked Bucky Captain America. Sam Wilson Captain America is the most recent other Cap. And from what I understand, I haven't read much of those books. I understand it was quite popular. It's not the first time Sam Wilson has been Captain America either. Was it the 70s or the 80s? He took up the shield for a bit. So I think it's good. And I just wish Sam did more in this movie, but we'll get to that. So I really did like that element. Thor. I get what you're trying to do. Genuinely do. And I know Chris Hemsworth likes playing the lighter, jokey Thor. Like, Thor has been reinvented to a James Roberts level. He is not the same character he was in his first few movies. I think Ragnarok at least got the balance of the exaggeration a bit better, and I hate Ragnarok. I really do not like that film. It is, in my opinion, one of the worst Marvel movies. Like, you're looking Iron Man 3, Ragnarok, kind of. Those are my bottom two, if I'm honest. And I don't know which one I'd put lower. Like, Iron Man pissed me off. Iron Man 3. Ragnarok I just thought was bad. Movie. But, like, They play up the jokey elements, and apart from the fact I think the fucking stoners thing is, oh, for God's sake. And Korg's back, yay. And also it means that apart from Heimdall, none of the named Asgardian characters that we know survived Thor Ragnarok died, despite the fact their ship blew up, didn't it? Okay, we're doing this, he's overweight, whatever. And now we're doing him as the Big Lebowski, and now here we have our briefing moment, and here is a way the hell too long scene of him having a fucking breakdown. There are good moments in there. I actually think that when Hulk and Rocket find him, it kind of works. Especially, like, I like the bit where, like, he really genuinely thinks this is all his fault because he didn't go for the head. And he has responded to that by having a bit of a breakdown. Not a midlife crisis, he's 1,500 years old. But he's just, like, broken. Like, he lost the Asgardians, he felt broken through Infinity War, and now he really feels like, I didn't just fuck up my life, I fucked up everyone's life. Trillions of people. And yeah, I think that's a good, like, the bit where he's like, don't say the name, and he's just grabbing Bruce, and he's just like, very quietly, just take your hand off me. And that I thought that was a lovely scene. And Chris Hemsworth is a good comic actor. I just want him to be given, how do I put this, comedy to work with. Like, I think his scene with the Guardians at the very end worked better than any other joke scene he had, where it's just like, oh yes, we know there'll be no knives. We know who's in charge, don't we? That worked much better for me. And it makes sense, like, if he's in Guardians 3, it makes sense that that's where they're going to put the character, because what they have turned him into is so in contrast with everything else in this universe, bar Guardians. Like, I'll be honest, it got real painful for me at times when everyone else is taking this at least, like, Marvel movie levels of serious, and they are characters, Thor is a caricature in this. Like, stick him in his own pocket of the universe and leave him there and let him be a caricature with all the other wacky weirdos. He clashed with this movie, in my opinion. I know, like, people, like, I saw one review, like, I don't want him, like, what would have happened with the fat? And just like, yeah, I just turn him back into regular Thor at the end. Like, he gets Mjolnir back, and, like, that's a good moment. Like, he's excited, he's worthy, he still feels he's worthy. Or he gets the past one back, because it gets given back. So he still got Stormbreaker going forward. And then he's just like, he's using both hammers, but he's still fat, yay, and he's still got the weird hair, yay, Big Lebowski, yay, reference, yay, don't fucking care. I would really have preferred if he'd gotten the hammer, and then because he's got two magic hammers and he's a fucking god, that it changed him back. He can keep the hair, the Viking hair, it kind of works in that regard, but just make him normal, because, like, the whole fight, I feel like because they've already gone, you're not at your game in this. You can't do these things as the way you did because you are a slob. And as he's going, let me use the gauntlet, I'll save everyone, please let me do this. Again, good scene, Chris Hemsworth could pull that off very well. And I also think, like, the new Thor worked very well in the morning scene where the original Avengers get together, morning, Black Widow. I thought that was very well handled, where he's just like, why are we doing, you're all talking about this, like she said, she's not dead. He will not accept it. And the fact he's using more modern language works out. He said, don't play this shit with me. We'll bring her back. We'll bring them all back. And then it's explained. And he's just like, no, let's see. I love you, man, but space magic. You're talking bullshit. We're saving her. And you can't save her because of her and Gamora, the original Gamora, they're both dead. I don't know about Loki or Heimdall or the rest. Presumably they could have been brought back, but Hulk think to bring them back. I don't know. But yeah, like, Thor didn't work for me for the most part, but I realize I am in a minority for what, like, people's reactions to this thing. One person who did work for me very well for this was Black Widow. Her character is very different from her first movie, but again, that, unlike Thor, this felt like an evolution. She has gone from A to B to C to D, and it worked. The self-sacrificing. She was clearing ledgers in Avengers. She's saving her family in Endgame, and I think that works very well. Not much to say on her character beyond that because she's mostly in a support role. But just like she's clearly traumatized, like everyone else is, and she's having to be strong and for everyone else. Hawkeye as well. He's in the movie a lot, but he doesn't do much. But again, he's Ronin for most of this. But he worked. I liked the actor. I like what he does with him. Again, I would really like a Ronin movie about like how he became Ronin. Like I didn't know he could use a sword. But I think he was quite good. I want to save Hulk of the main characters for a bit. Rocket was good. Rocket and Nebula, they don't get a lot to do, but they're very strong supporting roles. And I really like Nebula's character in this. The scene with her and Tony at the start I thought was great. Especially like she didn't do what I expected, where it's just like, this is stupid. Just like, did you enjoy that? Yes. I had fun. And it's just like the realization, like, has she ever had fun before? And like she had a nice dynamic with Tony. I would have liked to have seen them in more scenes together, I think. And I liked her as part of the Avengers. I think that she gelled very well. And she also, her deadpanness makes her work with the Guardians. And now they've brought past Gamora in, and we're going to have to relearn. That is one thing I'm kind of worried about for Guardians 3. We're going to have to relearn the Quill-Gamora relationship, where he's probably going to be way the hell too pushy. But it like Nebula was strong. Rocket was really strong. I think Rocket's sort of dramatic chops really, really worked in Guardians 2. If the script didn't completely undermine him. He was him and Yondu were the two strongest elements in that film for me. But here, like, he's got good balance. He's snarky, but that's Rocket. And there's the great moment with him and Thor where, in a very Rocket way, like, that didn't feel like it was jokey joke or anything like that. That was him saying, like, you're worried about someone who died years ago. I'm worried about people who didn't die. They got erased. Like, you have people in your life. You have been neglecting them, but you have people in your life. I don't. I have you idiots and my family. I thought that was good. Like, and at the end, we're like, you two could fight with knives. And that was a nice, like, I like that scene more because it felt like a Guardians 1 scene than a Guardians 2 scene. Is there anyone else from sort of the main group before I touch on Hulk? Yeah, Hulk. I see where you're going for again, but for me it doesn't work because it's Bruce. Now, Hulk is my favorite Marvel superhero by a country mile, and so I have huge biases. But that wasn't Hulk, that was Bruce. And Bruce Banner is not a character I want to see a whole movie of. Ever. Like, there's a nice bit when they see past Avengers Hulk, and it turns out he could talk properly and have sentences. He doesn't like stairs. But, which is sort of a retcon because, like, hey, he was only supposed to get a personality after Thor Ragnarok. And it's like, no, he had one then. And yes, I know, puny god. But, so this is Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, who works better. Like, I think Ruffalo gets the balance of wacky comedy and seriousness better. And he's got good moments in this. Like, they are well acted. They're well produced, everything else. But it's Banner. And Banner is not the character I'm interested in. Like, if you told me they were going to do a movie which was, we're going to have the Green Scar Hulk, or we're going to have the Gravage Hulk, or we're going to have the Doc Green or the Immortal Hulk, and any of these, like, the real strong protagonist Hulks, not the Savage Hulk, who is a very good character. I love the character, but he's not someone you could do a movie around. I would be so excited. Professor Hulk is my least favorite version, because one, he's the weakest Hulk, and two, it's just Banner in a green body. And you don't get any, like, we were taught, like, the first movie ended, Infinity War ended, and we were all talking about we want to see the Thanos Hulk rematch. Hulk doesn't fight once in this film. He does not throw. He runs in a crowd scene. Now, I know that this film has an enormous amount of scenes, but if Captain Marvel, who has just had her film, can get a fight scene with Thanos where it's like she's gonna... Like, if this had kept on and he didn't have an Infinity Stone, she'd probably... Maybe she couldn't have won, but she'd have slowed him the fuck down. If Scarlet Witch can get a scene where she basically kicks the crap out of Thanos using her super magic powers, which I liked a lot. I think she has a great scene. Suddenly made me want to see more of Scarlet Witch, which I've never wanted to see before. I thought she was a very underdeveloped character. But I loved that scene, and the actress, I thought, really got across the fact that the love of her life has not come back from this because he's a rock now. So, in fact, he got wiped completely when the Mind Stone was destroyed. So he doesn't exist on the, infinite scale. They'd have to bring another one from another timeline. And I thought that was a really good scene. But if Captain Marvel gets her, I blow up a ship and I kick ass scene, and after the movie includes the line of, I got beat twice, the Hulk lost, Banner lost. Why the hell didn't we have a rematch? It's the Hulk. He's literally as strong as you need him to be. You could have, Banner's hey, rematch, and he's like, I don't know you, and do that thing, and just he does it. Also, the burned arm, people are going to say that. I'm just again, it's the Hulk. He, in any other version of him, literally, even the cartoons, he has regeneration comparable to Wolverine's. So that shouldn't have even slowed him down for any length of time. But no, he's got a burnt arm now. I really wanted to see that fight, because that's behemoth clashing is a cool fight scene. And one thing this movie had was a lot of good action scene moments with no through line of a good action scene. I'll get to that in a minute, and people are going to disagree with me on that. But I really wanted to see that fight, and it really does undermine it for me, because you never see Hulk in this movie. You see Bruce in a Hulk body. Why didn't they could have gone the Onslaught route, where it's because that's what happened. Eventually, the Professor Hulk, they go up against Onslaught. He's ridiculous. He's like Galactus Infinity Gauntlet level. And so they basically break Bruce's mind. He retreats into the Savage Hulk comes out at the angriest anyone's ever seen him, and he fights this cosmic level destructive entity and shatters his armor. He's knocked out from the feedback, but he goes it's a really cool scene, and I would have loved it. Just he pulls back and the original Hulk comes up, and he's just there's no Hulk strongest there is. We've never heard Hulk is strongest there is in these films. Fuck you. We need to you're not strong enough. I have the power, and he's wielding the Power Stone, and then he grabs his hand and just Hulk is strongest there is, and it's the Hulk, and it's just oh shit. And you can still beat him because Hulk's the strongest there is. This guy has powers of everything. We could have had a really good short fight scene, and then Hulk gets knocked back, and then Marvel comes in and she has her fight scene. It's just Thanos is fighting these two behemoths, or you could have had a team up. Wouldn't that have been amazing? Where you've got that, because we've had the main trinity of the Avengers, which they are. We have the fight between them and Thanos, which is good, which is a good scene, and it also leads to the Mjolnir thing and the Avengers Assemble thing, all of which I love. But imagine if you had Thanos versus a Hulk and Captain Marvel at once, and she's got power and speed, and Hulk's raw power, and they're just pounding away at him, and they're pushing him back, and then that's when he grabs the Power Stone. And in that instant he's stronger than either of them, and he just knocks them both back. That I would have loved to see. It would have given Captain Marvel something cool to do, because she does have plenty cool. She has very little screen time in this, but she does do cool stuff. And then it would have given Hulk something cool to do. Instead, we have a lot of character for Bruce Banner, no Hulk. I like Mark Ruffalo's performance. I like what they do with Banner as a character, but the Hulk is not in this movie. I'm just going to, if you know what I mean. So there's a rant, and it does knock off a few points. Overall, the character work is good. I think it's solid. It's got its personal disappointment like Hulk, and it's got its missteps, in my opinion, like Thor, but I think they do it well. So everyone's raving about the big action scene at the end, right? And it is cool. It is cool to see all, they said at one point they had the 40 main actors all on the same set, and then they had stuff like M'Baku and Wong and other guys all in there. And that was cool. But what we have is a big CGI fight, where we focus on individual characters having quick fight scenes, cut away, quick cut, quick cut, quick. They get in loads of people, but it's a lot of cutting away constantly because they want to get in as many as they can. And a lot of these guys, they've come back. This is their first appearance in the movie, like Spider-Man, Black Panther, a lot of the female. We get a brand new superhero in this, by the way, which I've heard Gwyneth Paltrow won't be coming back. I think it's a shame because we get Rescue. Cool, I like Rescue in blue armor, which I think looks real nice, and looks to be just as powerful as Tony's. So, new Iron Man movie with Rescue, I would be ultimately really for. I suppose they could do Ironheart and give her the armor, but I don't know. I don't mind. I think the Ironheart armor looks too much like Iron Man's. If they do, I want her to be a different color. Make it yellow armor. But we get all these little like good fight moments, like Falcon stabbing, and we get the really awesome scene with Scarlet Witch, and Thor and Captain America trading hammers was really good. Tony and Rescue having a little moment, everything else. The female hero scene, I think was cool. I've seen some people say they didn't really like it, and they just thought it was a bit forced in there. It is what it is. Like, it was like, hey, we're going to get the female heroes, and it's just like, off we go. But it worked. I did like it. I thought it was cool. It was a really nice panning shot of like all the female, and like the general from Black Panther, whose name escapes me, and who begins with O, and who I loved. I love her as a character, and she's in there, and she's like, "You're not on your own. There is no on your own here." And then they just Valkyrie and Scarlet Witch taking out the giant monsters, and then you've got Rescue in there. You've got Gamora. Real nice scene. Kind of wish it was longer. That's the thing. These are moments I would have loved to have seen more of, because it was basically A-Force in the movies, and that would have been cool to see more of. Or if we had She-Hulk in there, that would be cool. Jen Walters, thumbs up, A+, love Jen. And that the action scene became a bit overly chaotic and broken down into those really quick flashes of individual characters. It also meant a lot of the side characters, who were being pushed, by the way, in marketing, like M'Baku and Wong, get nothing to do with. Like, M'Baku is in one scene where he goes, "Ah!" and that's it. I like M'Baku a lot. I would have liked to have seen more of him. He's cool. Wong, like him a lot. He's cool. Not in the movie much. Strange has a smaller role, but it worked. The fact that the heroes who come back have smaller roles doesn't bother me. Like, it would have been nice to have Black Panther have a big moment, but not really the point. I think Spider-Man maybe gets a wee bit too much. By the way, we know Spider-Man's movie is popular right now. Just because I like that movie, but Tom Holland is not all that. Especially since we've already seen a better Peter Parker in Spider-Verse. And I was just like, can we have him? Like, old man Peter Parker come back in his 40s is just like, yeah, I lost the weight, guys, shaped up. This is my wife. This is my 2 daughters. Yeah, bring both Annie and May. Have them both in. Yeah. That'd be cool. Like Mayday and Annie Parker in a movie would be awesome. Give them a movie. Spider-Girl's a movie. There we go. Like, sorry, Gwen, you can be Spider-Woman off Saving Universes. I want Spider-Girls as a movie. And Spinnerette and... No, is it? Yeah, Spiderling and Spider-Girl. That would be an awesome film. I would watch the crap out of that movie. But once you get into it, it's the same kind of CGI fight we had at the end of Infinity War, the same kind of CGI fight we had at the end of Ultron, the same kind of CGI fight we had at the end of Avengers. And because there's so many characters, you do not get those decent little character-focused fight scenes. Like, again, if you like, we've got the Black Order, we've got Thanos' Royal Guard. Some of them get taken out in the fight scene so quickly I didn't realize they were being killed off. And we don't have enemy faces. That's the thing. One of the reasons you should really keep enemies alive as long as possible, and not just for one movie, is because then when you're doing these big, especially Marvel now, when you're doing these big, because MCU is not done by any stretch of the imagination, I suspect. When you're doing these big films, wouldn't it be amazing? Like, some of them are still out there. Wouldn't it have been amazing if Surtur had been in that fight and Thor had to do something with him, or who else? Like an Iron Man villain, like I don't know, resurrect Obadiah Stane. I don't care. or Crossbones or some familiar face like that is this guy's enemy. The Scarlet Witch have an enemy that I don't know about. Captain Marvel's got Kree's bringing Kree. Or why were like wouldn't it have been interesting if like Captain Marvel brought like the Skrull with her? Because I know the Skrull. I know someone spoiled basically the overall plot of Captain Marvel for me. I am seeing it this weekend, one way or the other. But so I know that the Skrull are good guys and Kree are bad guys. So that would have been interesting. She brought in this whole army of like, what if they brought in the Super Skrull and the twist is he's on your side? That would be cool. Or like maybe like they introduced Rescue in this. Wouldn't it be kind of interesting if they hinted at like, oh, Fantastic Four, X-Men. But then again, this movie's already packed enough. I just think that I would have preferred smaller scale. Like, for this big, like, maybe have this big army scene and then have the original Avengers or or without all the backup from the Guardians of Wakandans and everything else, who are cool, but they don't do anything. And just say, like, we've got this army of how many thousands of alien monsters, and it's just like, Avengers assemble. We've got you outnumbered. There's like 40 guys behind me. I think we've got you outnumbered. Like, that would have been cool. But I don't know, like the fight scene didn't blow my mind. This movie has lots of really great moments. It's just at times the coalescing of those moments doesn't work for me. One thing I think was very, 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 very strong was the Tony Stark funeral. I like the panning shot showing all the heroes that are standing there honoring this man, whether they knew him or not. I kind of wish like the original Avengers are kind of in front. And then you've got like Guardians back. I kind of wish it was the cast of this movie were in front, because like Nebula and Rocket, they've known Tony for 5 years now. That's showing that they've connected with him more, and then you have to, at a respectful distance, people are just honoring a hero. And yeah, like I thought it was really strong, the fact that like proved that Tony Stark has a heart. That got like there are moments in this film that got to me, mostly with Tony. Yeah, there's this weird Captain Marvel's just sort of standing at the back next to Nick Fury, and it's just a bit odd to me because she looks really sinister, all in black, just like, I'll kill you all. Also, we don't have that stupid mohawk in this movie. I think it's in the actual Captain Marvel movie, and I've never liked the stupid mohawk. I'm just gonna, gun to my head, I do prefer the old black costume. Yeah, but I think the red one works. I just hate that mohawk look. So the fact she goes for like the buzz cut hair in this, or like not buzz cut, like she really crops her hair and it's got this kind of sweep to it. I dig that. Just none of that stupid mohawk. Oh, I hate the mohawk so much. But like there's a nice moment with Happy in this as well, and Tony gives his final message. Like, we do not have a I'm dying and I'm telling you things, which I heard someone complain about. I like that he's used this incredible power and he's just sort of basically sort of sitting there staring middle distance, barely recognizing anyone in front of him because he's going so fast. But I think the actual funeral was really well handled. And like I said, I actually think overall the end of this movie is real strong. Even the bits involving characters I wasn't in love with. Going forward, I don't know what's going ahead for the Marvel movies. We know Spider-Man's coming out. They said there is a Black Widow prequel coming out. I've heard there's going to be a Captain America Bucky movie, so I suppose that will be Sam and Bucky. But I don't know. I'd assume Captain Marvel is getting a movie. Guardians 3 will probably have we have the Asgardians of the Galaxy line. Oh god. It'd be kind of interesting. Like, Jane Foster's in this movie for like 5 seconds. Kind of interesting if they brought in the female Thor. But they'd have to recreate Mjolnir, I suppose. And also, like, some people are going like, I want Beta Ray Bill, and I was just like, I'd rather Beta Ray Bill too, but we ain't getting them. Overall, yeah, whatever is coming for Marvel, I hope it's good. I think this is like the next movie is not going to be as good as this. I think there will be a noticeable drop in quality while they kind of gather steam a bit. May hope, like I said, then I say that, but I think the end Phase 3 movies have all been better than most of the early Phase 3 and mid Phase 2 stuff. So I think this has real potential. I don't know. Black Panther 2 definitely happening. Yeah, so that's my thoughts overall. It's a bit rambly, but yeah, I've given it a 7 on Twitter. I'd stick with that. I think it's a 7 film. It does not blow my mind. I was not super excited going into this. I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to see it again. But I would definitely go like, this is a decent movie, solid. As a wrap up for this kind of thing, you can't compare it to literally anything else. Like, it kicks the crap of every DC movie bar Shazam. I would say I enjoyed Shazam more. Quite a bit more, actually. That movie surprised the hell out of me. But I think this is setting a bar, and now we need to meet or exceed that bar. And I'm not going to pretend that I think the bar is set at the top mark, because I don't think this is at the top mark. I think this is at the, decently above average mark, which is a good mark. I've seen people reacting negatively to people giving them 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5, whatever. And I'm just like, that is still meaning that you should see this film. It's just people don't think it's the second coming of Jesus Christ. Like, and also I've seen comments like, oh, well, if you don't like this movie, you don't like fun. It's like, don't be an asshole. It's not just spoiling that makes people assholes. It's being an arrogant prick. So yeah, that's me in Endgame. It's a 7 out of 10. It's worth seeing. I'll probably see it again. I'll probably see Captain Marvel this week as well. I need to see Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. I'm behind on that, but I'm kind of what I want to do is kind of rewatch the Marvel movies I really liked, like Iron Man, and I like Incredible Hulk as well, and Thor, which people are quite hard on. I like those two movies for what they are. So I'll probably rewatch them, or Winter Soldier, or Avengers, or Black Panther, and stick to the ones I really like, because people are doing this massive, I'm rewatching the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm just like, I don't want to sit through that many movies I thought were kind of crap, because I would say more of those movies, as you got further into it, kind of sucked. Not all of them, not by a long shot. There's some sucky movies in there, or at best average. I would struggle to make it through Age of Ultron again, really would. But yeah, so that's my thoughts, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. This is up on YouTube, obviously. You want to leave me any feedback or anything else? We've got comments down below. There's the Moonbase 2 Twitter. There's my own Twitter at Irish Paleo. You can send us some feedback maybe on this on the moonbase2@gmail.com. Andy and I will probably talk about the movie briefly at some point in the show, non-spoilery. Again, don't be an asshole. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Don't know if I'll ever do anything like this again. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But take care, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Seriously, no Green Scare Hulk. Ugh.